rules the gold. So how is dollar ruling the gold and what they doing whenever the dollar is collapsing? The America is a country where they look after only their country and their people, not doesn't care about other people. They are more selfish people than ever. How I will explain in this video. Before going to video, happy Ugadi to you and your family members, and please subscribe Uppunuri post and Uppunuri Instagram page and follow it. That will help us to grow and reach the content. Thank you. Now we go for the topic. So US dollar was the currency of the US America, but why all the countries using US dollar as a trade currency, as a buying oil currency, as buying gold currency? Why? What's the logic between that? Why not euro? Why not pound? Why not rupee? Why not yuan? Why only dollar? This was happened in before after World War II. If you see this PPT, after World War II, all the nations, like nearly 44 nations, met at US in Hampshire, and they decided US dollar was the world reserve currency, which trade with proportional to gold. With proportional to gold, they declared per 1 ounce of gold, 1 ounce is nothing but nearly 30 grams of gold is declared as a $35 at that point, and it will trade like directly proportional to dollar and gold based on the demand. But what happened next? US taken this as a loophole and they printed lot of dollars. So when they printing lot of dollars, Europe and Japan noticed that there was a mismatch happening in their gold. When they want to print the dollars, when they have only physical gold. When US had a physical gold, then they need to print the dollars and had an exchange. Other countries use gold to US, then gold US gives dollar to them. So this was the more plan between the countries. But what US did, US doesn't had any gold, but they printing the dollars. So then this mismatch was happened when Europe and Japan noticed that they given all the dollars back and taking gold. Then the US gold reserves was declining. When in the world they had 2/3 of reserves when it was started, then the gold reserves are declining year on year. Then President Nixon declared that ended dollar to gold convertibility, and that overnight dollar was backed by nothing but trust. So there is no backup for the dollar at that time, other than because before there is a gold, but now there is nothing. Then they got crisis. Most of them are losing the trust on dollar. Then the idea came from the US. One person, they declared like a, then they started a petro-dollar deal, America master stroke, because all the countries giving dollars back and US don't know what to do with the dollars and they losing gold. This was happened. Then they started, United States went to Saudi Arabia and OPEC, all the Gulf nations who produces gold, who produces crude oil and oil supplies, they decided, they made a deal, win-win deal. That deal changed the US economics from up to now. That's why the US dollar is dominant still now. What they did, all the people taking gold back, no one is needed dollars. Then they came with the idea, they declared a win-win deal with Saudi Arabia. What they did, they said to Saudi Arabia, we will give all the defense equipment, advanced weapons to you, and security to your enemy, security to your country from the enemies, and we will give military protection for us. So you don't need to pay anything at that time for us, but you only need, the thing to do is you must trade your oil in dollars only. All the OPEC nations must do the same thing. Then that was the deal. Then every country need oil, every country need energy. So on the earth, every country running through the crude oil at that time, full 100%. So every country need oil. If they need oil, they need to pay in dollars. That was the deal. Again, the dollar demand became permanent, not because of coal but because of energy. This is the biggest deal US has done with the OPEC nations. That deal changed the US economics. That deal made the US as a $30 trillion economy today. So country need oil. Any country, Japan, India, Germany must buy oil to power their economy. Then they need dollars. Since the oil is priced in USD, they must exchange their currency for USD dollars. Then buy-in oil transaction happens. Saudi OPEC receive dollars. Dollar flows globally. Then petro-dollar recycle. What they did? Oil nations invest surplus dollars into US treasury bonds. So they're getting lot of dollars. What they do? They don't know what to do. They again back invested in US bonds, which gives debt to the government, and they invested in US companies. US benefited dually by the dollar exchange and by investments. This is the big deal for US maintaining the dominance. Then they started a dominance tactics. Whenever someone want to erase that exchange of dollar of oil, they started a war, or they killed the president, or they kidnapped the president. This is doing from last 70 years. Since 70 years, US is trying to keep the dominance of the dollar, because if US loses the power of dollar dominance, everything will be erased. US will be collapsed overnight. So who started? For examples of this: whenever dollar weakens or country tries to bypass Iraq, Saddam Hussein announced selling oil in euros. Then within 3 years, US had a war with Iraq, and US invaded Iraq. Oil sales returned to dollar. Again in 2011, Gaddafi proposed gold-backed African currency to replace dollar oil trade. Again he was killed. And countries challenges dominance face US sanctions. They cutted the Russia. For Russia war, they cutted the shift axis, which is the exchange of money. So but Russia developed something different. That is different story. And US military presence, 700 plus US military bases globally. Gulf states are protected. Still this deal was there. This is the major dominance. Have you understand? If you like this content, please like us and share this. Whenever the nation still needs the dollar, oil is priced in dollars, global trade uses dollar, dollar is equal to world reserves, dollar debt dominates, shift dollar system was dominant in the world, US sanctions are powerful. That's the deal. So whenever China, Russia stealing the trade in yuan, rubles, bypassing dollar, BRICS nation, these are the threats for the dollar. But whenever the dollar problem came, they started something. So now I will explain for the Iraq-Iran war why this was happening. If you see this graph, last 5 years, in 2022, dollar was traded at 113, and it's fallen to below 90 recently. Then this is nothing but US dollar index. So US dollar index declares the US exchange rate. So whenever the US dollar index was falling, and whenever the money going to the gold or silver or other currencies, then US starts the what US starts something, because they need dollar dominance. So they started some war or something. Whenever the war started, every country needs energy. When every country needs, the oil prices go up. If oil prices go up, the dollar dominance will grow up. Now again, see, if you see here, last 6 months, if you see, after Venezuela president kidnapped, after Iran war, the dollar here traded at 96 went to 99. So this will help US to be dominant all the time. This economics was the selfish economics of US, and they still do the same thing, whoever the president was. So thank you for watching this video.